Good evening. Welcome to Wednesday Check-in. Nope, I don't have a better name for it this week, but next week you'll be hearing this same event called Time Together, and that will be started out with Pastor Lisa. We're going to do a check-in this evening with a theme called I'm Drained. That's right. I'm drained. In these demanding times, people are using different words for that state of being: exhausted, overwhelmed, tired, discouraged. But for this evening, we're going to use the word drained. So before we get started with that portion, let's enter in simply to a time of letting go the stress just a little bit. Let's think about our breathing. Push those shoulders down. Move about until you find a comfortable place in your chair. And let's turn down the thoughts that are continually speaking to us. Let's quiet the reactions that we're having throughout the day, day after day. Some folks call it being still. We can call it being quiet together for a few moments. Let's try being quiet together for a few moments right now. We're letting go of the busyness, the to-dos, the not dones. Letting our very busy mind go a bit quiet. Letting ourselves feel the ease in that quiet without so much pestering our minds. In the quiet, we're taking a time now to remember something that we receive today, even if we receive it every day. That was a small or a large blessing, a moment or even a state of being where you knew that you were blessed, that good still happened for you and with you. It could have been as simple as the perfect cup of coffee, a surprising bird that visited your yard, the wind on your face when you took a bike ride or a walk. It could have been larger, a relationship that took a good turn, a relationship that showed promise of taking a good turn. We can together feel a remembrance of the sense of being blessed, even if it was small and momentary, in this very day. We can together be still a moment in gratitude, giving thanks that that moment happened, that we noticed it, and that we now appreciate it. we could take just a moment to almost relive it in our minds, in our emotions, or even in our spirits, that we don't forget it so easily, that we have a sense of really fully living that moment of blessing, of goodness. For me, I did have the perfect chia pudding this morning, and it was gifted to me. Not too thick, not too thin, not too sweet, and a little bit unexpected. I'm sure that you had a moment of blessing or goodness today that you could recall. Just as surely as you had the moment of blessing or goodness, you had a different kind of moment today. A moment, maybe it was a long moment, an hour, could have been the tone of the day, of feeling drained, depleted, overwhelmed, let down. It's okay now to take a moment and recall that sense of being drained. Take a moment to ask yourself, what does it mean to me to feel drained? Maybe it was a simple reaction based on thirst or hunger, being overheated, or just plain tired, physically tired, and not having taken care of that, feeling that you were simply drained. At the end of your rope, your cup was empty, no more to give, or possibly no more to take. During this pandemic season, many of us are encountering, sometimes multiple times a day, a sense of being drained, not equipped, not quite up to it, not ready. And we hear it expressed in many, many ways. Now that we've identified that moment or hour or tone of the day of feeling too much demand or feeling drained, now let's reimagine either that circumstance or that feeling. And let's imagine this time that the power of the universe that I refer to as God is right there in it, not just beside me, but actually in that feeling or circumstance right along with me, whatever it was. I had 3 deliveries in a row, none of them what I ordered. It's trivial, really, but it didn't feel trivial by the third one. When I go back now and imagine my absolute aggravation when the third one came and I knew I was going to have yet another return to do. When I imagine the power of the universe, God Himself, standing right there in the midst of me and the package and my reaction, it does change the circumstance. in the awareness in my imagination that God is standing right there with me, not as judge, as companion. And we receive those three packages together, each one of them not right, not useful, and requiring return. It does feel different in my imagination. It does diminish in importance. It does feel less intrusive on me and whatever it was I was equipped with to deal with the frustration of package number 3. It does feel like some of that is his power could rub off on me, could extend to me. He could help me with that. Something as simple as receiving a wrong package again. Whatever your circumstance is that you're revisiting, a moment or a circumstance, a situation in which you felt drained, I'm hopeful that revisiting that with the concept of God right there in it with you, that you are seeing or feeling or sensing that it could be different for you too, with God in the midst, right there in it. So we take a moment together to let that opportunity happen for all of us. I wonder how that makes you feel now. It may be that it almost feels like that script already lived is rewritten, rewritten with peace, rewritten with receptiveness and understanding, that you didn't have to rise to that occasion all by yourself with whatever remainder you had of patience or flexibility or the need to get something done. So, whatever it is that bringing God into that feeling or reaction or circumstance that drained you, whatever that was that revisiting with God brought to you, even if it was regret, I think I acted badly. I got all upset for no good reason. I could have taken that easier, less hard. Taking this moment to imagine God in it with you could allow you peace, release regret, and give you a freshness of relief from that experience, even though it happened earlier today. So we've taken a moment together under the theme of I'm drained to identify a blessing of the day, small or large, and a circumstance or a time of feeling drained or depleted or demanded of in a way you couldn't quite meet on your own. And we've taken some time to bring God into it, to allow Him to visit with us in our memory that situation. And because He's God, allow His strength, His endurance and hope his character, his integrity, his unending love to enter in with us to that circumstance. That may give you kind of a blank slate from the stress of the day. And if not, maybe it just reduced it a little. Maybe by now, taking that time to bring God into it, even in remembering, maybe you're feeling a little less strain. So let's hold that feeling for just a minute and let's consider telling God what's going on with us as we think about tomorrow. Or because we only see you once a week here, maybe it's another day of this week that you're not looking forward to, that you already know is going to be draining or demanding. And you have some anxiety, some negative anticipation, some frustration before you even experience it, that you must experience it. Could be anything. Could be a dentist appointment. Could be calling someone that you feel awkward with. Could be a task that you find particularly demanding or draining because you can't do it simply because you have to take safety precautions as you do it. Could be an encounter that used to be joyful and in person, and now you have to tackle technology in order to keep the appointment or make the visit. By the same method that we used to take some of the sting, some of the drain, some of the strain out of a feeling we'd already had today, we can right now allow God in the midst, right in the middle of that anticipation. And if it's a big anticipation, it might even be dread. And we can tell God how we think it's going to feel, how we don't want to engage in it, how we're not looking forward to it. And in that process, we have already invited him in, the King of the universe, the ultimate power, our friend, is happy to lend his character to our situation. Anytime we allow it, we could take a moment and allow it right now. God, I'm going to need you when tomorrow I expect to be drained or demanded of by, and name to God whatever that thing, circumstance, even person might be. We could also ask God for his presence with us at that time and our awareness of his presence, for his help. I like the word equipping, for him to help us get ready. And we can allow ourselves to be still a moment and feel, how might that be? that thing that we don't really want to look forward to tomorrow or later in the week in the company of the character of God. Not trying to be God, trying to be in companionship with God, in partnership, even. So now, spending that moment to imagine how the thing we're looking forward to might be. Let's also give a moment to consider that difference. That difference in how it was when I imagined it, doing it on my own, facing whatever it was, trying to get through it, doing the best I can. And how does that change when we imagine that same thing with God's empowerment, feeding us, assuring us, strengthening us, getting us ready to have that encounter or circumstance or situation in our pathway, but not quite as bothersome as it was when we imagined it without Him. Now we get to do the very same exercise about tomorrow or later on this week, but this time identify a life-giving moment, circumstance, situation, or encounter that we can look forward to tomorrow or sometime in the next several days. Let's allow ourselves to notice how differently we feel than when we identified a time that we expected to be drained. It could be as simple as a meal you're looking forward to, an outing of some kind, or maybe you have a day planned with a special activity or joy, or in the company of someone that you already know will be life-giving to you. Just as we did when we identified a draining moment, let's imagine God in it with us, right there in the life-giving moment or circumstance or encounter, right there celebrating with us, the very giver of life, right there participating in, enjoying with us a life-giving moment of some kind. And before it even happens, we can take time right now to be thankful, thankful for being able to look forward to it, thankful for knowing that God can be with us in that too. And how does that feel? Does it expand your anticipation? Does it enlarge your sense that that occasion or encounter or circumstance will be life-giving? I imagine that it does. Isn't it interesting that this imagining I'm speaking of has the very same qualities of allowing us to notice our spiritual self, our very spirit. And our spirit can feel pressed down or lifted up or set free. And we do have some influence in which of those states our spirit will be in, often simply by noticing that God is in it with us. And so, right now, we're considering a life giving moment, circumstance, or encounter that we're looking forward to. We've already taken a moment to place God in that with us. What if it doesn't go the way we expect? What if it's not life-giving in the way we expect? Or what if it's not life-giving at the measure we expect it to be? We could ask God right now for help before it even happens if it should go in a way that we don't expect. Some people call that surrendering. There are many names for it. But what we do know is sometimes if we get ready for a thing, we react a little differently. So we could choose right now to invite God in to the anticipation, to the looking forward. And we could ask Him right now for the strength or the readiness to receive it as good, this thing that we expect to be life-giving, even if it doesn't go the way we expect it to. We could do that now together. I'm expecting to see a friend that I know reliably, is easy to speak to, has a good outlook on things, and doesn't deny struggle when it's real. And if there's an intrusion on our time is cut short, if there's an interruption or delay that changes what I expect of that time, I'm asking God right now to give me both the endurance and the grace to still be able to receive it as good. I don't know what situation you are looking forward to, but you could invite God into it right now so that God could handle the disappointment should there be a change or if it does not go in the way you expected. I don't know about you, but I can feel my body is a little more relaxed. I'm a little less stressed than I was before I took time to invite God in this way, or the power of the universe, into my day as I knew it today, and into the next thing I'm anticipating to be draining or to be life-giving. I really hope that that has been able to be helpful to you too. As I do each week that we meet here together, I'd like to end with Spirit of the Living God spoken to you. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Melt me, mold me, fill me, use me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Blessings on your wellness, blessings on your aliveness, and blessings on your noticing and paying attention to the power of the universe, God Himself entering in to the circumstances of your life. Good evening. Not going to let me say goodnight. Okay.